Wake up in the grind, clock ticking, 20 minutes flat, freedom main-handed, knives built with.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the 20-Minute Freedom Project. I am your host, Josh Lopez. This show is for people who want ownership, discipline, freedom, and to build a life that is earned, not handed to them. And today's episode might step on some toes, but it is necessary. I want to start with a sentence that most people don't like. Most people resist. And honestly, most people spend their whole lives arguing with. And here it is. Life is not fair. It never has been, and it never will be. And the faster you stop negotiating with that, the faster your life improves. Because let me tell you something. Fairness is not a strategy. Fairness is not a plan. Fairness does not create momentum. Fairness is just an expectation. An unmet expectation. That's where frustration lies. Most people don't suffer because life is hard. They suffer because they think life should be easy. And that belief quietly ruins people's lives. Let me explain where this even comes from. From the time we're kids, we're taught some version of this story, right? If you do the right things, if you do hard work, if you're a good person, things should work out. And when they don't, when the effort doesn't turn into results fast enough, something breaks inside of people. They get bitter, they get angry, they get resentful. They start saying things like, that's not fair. I didn't deserve this. Why does this keep happening to me? And look, I get it. We've all said it. And here's the hard truth that so many people seem to miss. The world does not respond to what you think you deserve. It responds to what you consistently do. And on top of that, what value you bring to the table. Life does not grade on effort. It grades on output. Fairness is a childhood framework. It's a way to help kids make sense of the world. But adults who keep expecting life to be fair never have fully grown up, because adulthood is about responsibility, not fairness. Responsibility says, all right, this happened. Now what? Fairness says, this shouldn't happen like this. One gives you power, the other takes it away. Every time you say, this isn't fair, you've handed your power to circumstance. And let me tell you something about circumstances. They don't care about your feelings or what you think is fair. Look around. Some people start ahead and some start behind. Some people get opportunities early and some people have to fight for everything they get. Some people grew up in stability. Some people grew up in chaos. That's not philosophy. That's reality. And arguing with reality is one of the most exhausting ways to live. Acceptance doesn't mean that you like it. Acceptance means you stop wasting energy wishing it was different. And you start using the energy to move forward and make a change. Let me tell you where most of the life isn't fair pain comes from. And it comes from comparison. You look at someone else's timeline, someone else's success, someone else's situation, someone else's house, life, or their car. And you measure your life against it. And that creates resentment, not motivation. Because you're comparing two different starting points, two different support systems, different levels of sacrifice, different costs. You're not seeing the full story. You're seeing the high level reel. And beating yourself up with incomplete data. If you've ever seen those pictures of is usually a cartoon. It's on social media. It's a person standing on top of a wall with their hands up, held up high, and it's like success. Everyone's cheering. But behind the wall, you see all the things that they had to go through. The struggle, the pain, the relationship difficulties, the not spending time with their kids, not spending time with their partner, which loops back into the relationship issues. But you get the point. The long time of not getting anywhere, but wishing they were. The money spent on testing and trials and errors and learning. You are only seeing the end point. You don't see all the things that they had to go through to get there. And that's one of the issues that I have with social media, is because you see the whole side. It's the highlight reel. And if people don't look at it subjectively, they're going to look at it and think that they are somehow not doing good enough, instead of actually looking inward on their life and picking and choosing all the things that they decided to choose that were not moving them in the direction of their goals. You can beat yourself up all damn day, but that doesn't change the fact that you made these decisions and this is where you are. Let me talk about business for a second. Because in business, fairness is one of the fastest ways to lose momentum. You hear things like, we should be farther along by now. We've worked harder than them. They didn't earn that. And emotionally, I get it. But the market doesn't care. The market doesn't reward fairness. The market rewards value, execution, and consistency. You don't get paid for effort. You get paid for results. And once you accept that, business becomes so much simpler. It may not be easier, but it's simpler. I've been through many different situations in business. Fights with partners, business lows, business highs, times when I had to start all the way at the beginning, and everything in between. I could have complained that the situation I was in was not fair. And I'd be lying if I said that I didn't have those thoughts at times. But what you have to remember is every situation is just a reflection of what you did or did not do, how you had been showing up, and a multitude of other things leading up to that point that you are at. Here's an important distinction. Life is not fair, but life is consistent. Consistent effort compounds. Consistent discipline compounds. Consistent avoidance compounds too. Life doesn't punish you randomly. It reflects patterns. The problem is most people don't stay in the game long enough to actually see the reflection of what they want. They quit too early. They complain too soon. They leave when things get uncomfortable. People get stuck because they believe this lie. If I do everything right, it should work. But doing everything right does not mean it works quickly. Progress usually looks like long periods of nothing, followed by sudden acceleration. Most people quit during the nothing phase. They mistake silence and things not happening the way they want them to for failure. You can look at it as failure, but in the end, it ultimately is not the failure. Failure is when you quit. You can run offer after offer after offer after offer until you get the right offer. You might have a couple sales, but that doesn't ultimately lead you to your success. You have to find the thing that fits you the best. You have to find the right offer matched with the right price to the right audience, and then it will succeed after enough people hear about it. Let me tell you a story that perfectly explains why most people lose, even when they're closer than they might think. Back in the gold rush days, there was a guy who invested everything he had into mining equipment. He bought the tools, he bought the land, and started digging. For a while, nothing. He kept digging. He got a little bit here and there, but still, he was not hitting what he truly wanted. He was not hitting the jackpot. Weeks go by, months go by, still not hitting that vein of gold that would make him ultimately rich. Eventually, he decides this isn't working. This was a mistake. So he sells the land and the equipment to a junk dealer and walks away. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The guy who bought the land and the equipment doesn't just start digging randomly. He hires a mining engineer. The engineer looks at the site, studies the rock formations, and says, "You don't need to start over. You don't need to start over. You just need to drill 3 feet over here." So they do. And what do you know? They hit one of the largest gold veins in the entire area. The first guy quit 3 feet from gold. How many people do you think quit 3 feet from their breakthrough? Not because they were wrong, not because it wasn't working, but because it hadn't worked in so long that they thought that the best thing that they could do was give it up and do something else. Think about that. He didn't quit because he was lazy. He quit because he thought if it hadn't worked by now, it probably never will. Maybe I'm on the wrong land. And I would venture to guess that one of his thoughts probably was life is not fair. This is a totally different time, so this may not actually be what he had thought. But it could have been, especially when he heard the guy that he sold all the equipment and the land to hitting the biggest vein in the area. This is what progress usually looks like most of the time. You work, nothing happens. You work more, still nothing. You keep showing up day after day after day. Still nothing. Your brain starts telling you stories. This isn't working. Other people must be passing me. Other people are passing me by. Other offers are working. Other people are making it work, but I can't seem to make it work. I must be doing something wrong. Maybe this just isn't for me. Life isn't fair. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they leave the field too soon. They change directions too early. They quit right before the compounding effect shows up. They walk away 3 feet from their gold. And here's the part that really matters. You don't know how close you are. You never do. You could have a breakthrough tomorrow. It might be a month from now, which means there's only one strategy that works. And it is standards, consistency, time, and hard work. That's it. Let me say this clearly. Pressure is not proof you're losing. Pressure is a test. Pressure is where strength gets built. Pressure is where discipline gets revealed. Pressure is where excuses die. If life were fair, pressure wouldn't exist. But pressure is the filter. It's the filter between the people that will put in the work and the people that won't. There's a clip with Patrick Bet David and some lady. She was arguing and arguing and arguing that no one can get to his level. He kept asking how much work ethic she has, and she kept refusing to answer. The key is right there. The person that's willing to put in the most work for the longest period of time with the most struggles and finding what works is the one who's going to win. If you want the life of comfort and the life of ease, that's not going to be you. When life feels unfair, victim thinking feels comforting. It gives you a reason. It gives you someone to blame. It gives you permission to stop pushing. But comfort is expensive. Victim thinking costs you momentum. It costs you confidence. It costs you identity. And the longer you sit in victim thinking, the harder it is to leave. Ownership and execution and hard work is the antidote. those things don't ask, why did this happen to me? If you take full ownership, it is going to ask you, all right, what am I going to do about it? Ownership gives you options. Fairness takes them away. This shows up in relationships too. People say I give more than they do. It's not fair. I'm always the one trying. And sometimes that's not wrong. But fairness won't fix the relationship. Clarity will. Either expectations change, boundaries get set, or decisions get made. Fairness keeps you resentful. Ownership forces momentum. Here's something I have noticed. People who accept life and know that it's not fair, they usually go farther. Not because they're heartless, because they're grounded. They don't expect comfort. They don't expect any applause. They don't expect guarantees. They don't expect handouts. They expect resistance. And they put in the work day after day. They are willing to keep showing up even when things don't go their way. So they're not shocked when ultimately they get the things that they want. Accepting that life is not fair is not giving up. It's leveling up. It's saying, all right, I see the game now. And when you see the game clearly, you can play it better. Life does not even things out. It responds. It responds to standards under pressure and effort over time and consistently showing up. Decisions when it would be easier not to make them. Putting in the work when others sit around and complain that life isn't fair and look for pity. If you're waiting for fairness, you will always be waiting. And if you're listening to this and thinking, yeah, but my situation really isn't fair, you're probably right. Now what? That question, that's where power lies. Here's the reframe that changes everything. Instead of saying life is not fair, try saying, this is my training. Training for patience, training for discipline, training for resilience, training for leadership. Life is not fair. But it is an incredible teacher. And the people who win long term, they don't need life to be fair. They need it to be real. They build skills. They build capacity. They build standards. They don't complain about the weight. They get stronger to handle the weight. The pain, it doesn't disappear when you complain about it. Pain disappears when you convert it. Then over time, you will grow and level up. And the next time the same pain shows up, it will not even register for you because you are not the same person and you've grown above it. Every unfair moment asks the same question. Will you fold or will you build? Here is a hard but freeing truth. No one is coming to make life fair. No one is coming to save you. And that's not bad news. That's freedom. Because now you don't need permission to rise. Here is your freedom challenge. For the next 7 days, every time you catch yourself saying, this isn't fair, replace it with, this is my responsibility. This is what I get to do. Then ask, what's one action I can take today? One action. Not a speech, not a complaint, not a woe is me. It's action. That habit alone will change how you experience pressure. If this episode helps you think clearer or act stronger or give you a different viewpoint, share it out with someone you care about. And if you haven't yet, leave a 5-star review for the show. It helps the message reach more and more people who need it. And remember, freedom is not found, it's built one decision at a time, even if it doesn't feel fair. Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and I will catch you guys on the next one.